Hey y'all, it's me again. I'm back. Super excited today, Wednesday, April 12th, to be posting this video. Yesterday, I watched a YouTube interview with a brother, Kwabena Asamoa. Was interviewed by Webnation Africa, and he was talking about some of the his reasons for moving back to Ghana. For those of you who don't know me, around the greats. And I worked as a private school educator for 25 years, and I started this channel for Black women over 50, just to say that our lives matter too. And so today's message that I got from Kwabena, inspired by him, and also a sister, Suzy Dee. Suzy Dee has a channel that talks about her travels. So if you've been watching me for a couple weeks, you know I have notes. So Suzy Dee, so Kwabena is an engineer. He was born in Ghana, and then when he was a little kid, when he was in elementary school, he moved, his family, they all moved to the U.S. And he talked about his experience growing up here in the U.S. and not being and feeling accepted, etc., etc., and that was the driving force behind his success. He has his own clothing company, etc., and has done a lot of other things in business. And I found myself being like, which is what I keep doing. I'm at this age, a Black woman over 50, African American, trying to figure out what the next steps are in my life should be, because I want to be able to help more people. I want to be able to do more things for my community. And how do I get there? So I keep watching people like Kwabena and others, some who have made some mistakes and are rebounding from them, some who made mistakes and have not rebounded, etc. But I know that I can learn from anyone. And I most especially want to learn from people who have tried something. You know, a lot of people out here who want to give you advice and they never tried anything. And I'm just like, sweetie, I love that. I love that about you, that you want to tell me what to do, but you've not done anything. I had a pastor one time say, don't take advice about money from somebody that don't have none. Don't take parenting advice from somebody who ain't got no kids. Don't take, what was the third one? Relationship advice. Don't take no relationship advice from somebody that ain't got no partner. And that stuck with me because it sits well with me. Not to say that those folks who, you ain't got no money and you got some ideas or whatever, that I can't listen to you. I listen to you, but I need to see some fruit in your basket about whatever I'm learning. So that's where I got started this week, because one of the things that I am most excited about is that last week I became 100% debt free. 100%. I don't owe anybody anything. That has been a goal of mine. Shoot. Since I started racking up debt, I guess. No, that's not true, because when I used to work, and I used to say, I'm always going to have a car note. Nope, you don't. Then I met and was introduced to the work of Dave Ramsey. And Dave Ramsey, he'll tell you, he calls himself a hillbilly. And he's out of Nashville, Tennessee. And he might be a Republican. Go figure. I can learn something. We can all learn something from someone whose their politics or their lives are not exactly aligned with ours. But you can learn something from them. That same pastor that I mentioned before, he used to say, eat the fish and throw the bones away. It was like, so when I used to listen to Dave Ramsey when I lived in Baltimore, he was on the radio, and I didn't understand how this guy um, had a radio show, and he was giving away all of this great advice like it would be 3 hours a day. And so I just started, and I said to myself, like, what is it hurting you to carve out the time, if you have the time to carve out the time to listen and learn? You know, we go to college, we take courses, we go to workshops and all these things, and we try to learn different things. This is a 3-hour show, and it was recorded, so it was on YouTube. So I watched Dave Ramsey's audio show videos, and you know, I've tried to introduce Dave Ramsey to a number of people, and they're like, I just can't take it. And I'm like, okay, well, don't take it. But I can tell you, I sit here today because of Dave Ramsey and his debt snowball. And most importantly, because I researched him as a business person. And he was very vulnerable in talking about how when he was younger, he tried to build wealth in a lot of different ways, and he lost a lot of money. He was doing things one way, and then he discovered this way that he's currently doing, and that he talks about over and over and over again. And that's the thing. If you know something, share it, and you don't have to keep reinventing something. He's got a formula, and I am a living witness to tell you that the Dave Ramsey method works. He taught me things like, I don't really need a credit score. He taught me things like, pay for your stuff with cash. What are you talking about, Dave? I thought when I wanted to get on a plane and go take a trip, I needed a credit card. He said, use your debit card. That means I need to have that amount of money in the bank, Dave. What are you talking about? And he's right. And so I followed, and it was a slow and steady climb. He would talk about things like, if you have big debt, you might need a big shovel. And if you don't have a big shovel, you need to get a second job, or you need to have something else. Those are different things and ways that he changed my mindset about money and got me to where I am today. And I am so grateful. And then, so there's a step, he does these steps where he talks about ways to get out of debt. And then once you get out of debt, now what? So that's what I'm talking about today as well. So did all of the climbing, did all the digging, got out of the debt. Now what am I going to do with myself? Worked for 25 years in one particular industry, got done with that. Now what are you going to do with your life, ma'am? You still have a lot of life to live. Some of the things that I've been discovering about myself, or that I knew, and that I'm, like you're committing, you're like looking at some of the things that you've been doing, and do you want to keep doing those things, right? I read this book. I read a lot. I listen to a lot of books and all kinds of things. So one book talked about you become an entrepreneur because you want to bake pies. The book was talking about pies. She was a pie baker. Her aunt had taught her how to bake pies. And she was good at baking pies, but she wasn't, I guess when she initially started, she was working for someone and she didn't like how they were doing the business. So folks talk to you. People get in your ear. Everybody's got an opinion. And they were like, you should open your own pie shop, store, whatever you call it, right? And what that meant is that she's out here baking the pies, But then she's got to run this business as well. And if she's got to hire people, excuse me, this earring is annoying me. She's got to hire people and all of that stuff. And it just started to wear on her because you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I think it was, you got to order supplies to make sure you have all the stuff so that you make the pies. And then you make the pies, you sell the pies, then you got to balance your books and then the taxes and all that stuff, right? So I've been thinking about entrepreneurship. Then I think about the fact that when I was teaching or working as an administrator, that was cool because I had all of these people. When I was in a boarding school, it was real cool when I was raising the kids because I even had people cooking for me. Like, hello, my rent was free. Folks were, I could eat, as long as the students were on campus, the dining hall was open. So you can eat your meals in the dining hall, etc. But it was hard work. It was hard work. It was time consuming. So that's the trade-off, right? And people are like, well, if your rent was free, why didn't you get out of debt faster? The things that you owe are still out there. My student loan debt, you still have expenses. If you think about it, if you take your mortgage away, if you take your rent away right now, would you be debt free? No. I'm just saying, whether it's credit card debt or whatever. And I was living my life and I was raising 2 kids and I wanted them to have a particular standard of living as well. So that's where my money was going. And anyway, so where I am today, I was watching a woman and I'm going to put these people's names and things in the description so that if you're interested in going and checking them out. There's a black woman named Suzy Dee. Suzy Travels, and she's in the Chicago area. She's a black woman over 50. And Suzy caught my attention. Well, it started with Stephanie Perry. I always got to give a shout out to my girl Steph. And Suzy lives in Chicago. And Suzy went to Bali for a month. Left the last days of December of 2022 and stayed for a month. And while she was there, she was considering living in Bali. She had 5 different streams of income coming in that would have afforded her to be able to do that, to get rid of her things here in the U.S. and go live in Bali. Well, while she was in Bali for that month on her retreat and healing and wellness and taking care of herself in Bali, I hear Bali's amazing. It's on my list of places to go. For sure, once I get, it'll come up on the list. While she was there, the streams of income that she thought she had fell through. For example, she was selling her house. Nobody bought the house. She had a remote job, or she had a job she thought she was coming back to. That fell through. She thought she had a pension. The company that owned the pension sold it to another company, and they changed the age limit. That's what they keep doing, right? That's like Social Security right now. Like they keep warning us and saying that Social Security won't be around when we're able to. I'm like, well, hell no, if it's going, excuse my language, it ain't going to be around if you're going to move the age, the eligibility age up to 80 years old or something. Right now, I remember when I was younger, I thought 62 was retirement age. So I was like, okay, I did my work. I paid my taxes. I paid into Social Security. I'm going to be good. Today, as we sit here in 2023, they think the ideal age to retire is 70. There's nothing wrong with being a 70-year-old, and I pray that I make it that long. But what is my health going to be like at 70? And do you think that I am supposed to continue at the level that I was working for 10 more years. Yuck. Yuck. That does not sound fun at all to me. So I am on a quest for a different type of reality, a different journey. I'm doing my research. I praise God for Suzy for being so vulnerable and honest that she finished her month in Bali and she went back to her house that she has in Chicago, and grateful that she has her house in Chicago. Personally, if I had left for a month, I would have to come back and sleep on my brother's couch. Real talk. Because I ain't got no house. I go stay on my daughter has roommates. My son has a little spot with his son. I guess I could go live on his couch or something. But that would be where I would be if I decided to just chuck everything and get started. But what I'm going to do, what I am working on right now, my hope, my prayer. Now I'm gonna pause that for a minute as I'm talking about my hopes and my prayers and give you a praise report. On Monday, I'm a part of an organization, and within that organization, I was given an opportunity to take a trip to Tel Aviv. I'm going to go to Palestine, Jordan, and Israel, April 22nd. I'm going to be praying. I'm going to continue to lay out before God all these things that I'm talking to all of you about for my life. Because that's all this is I'm sharing my life with you all. People who don't want to hear it, don't want to see it, don't care anything about me in my life. That's okay too. You don't have to. You don't know me. Most of y'all don't know me anyway, so it doesn't matter, right? But in the meantime, so from April 22nd to May 2nd, I will be praying and meditating and learning how to carry on with this journey. How do I go from where I am today to where I want to be, and where I hope to be is next year this time I will have at least figured out how to have to live here in the US, probably here in Nevada, half of the year, and the other half of the year I want to live in Ghana. And I want to figure out how my experience, my life can be a gift to those folks in Ghana. Or I can just go over there and chill and suck up all their warm weather because they're like warm weather all the time. And I hate to be cold. So my goal is to live there during the winter months. When it gets cold here, I'm going to head on over to Ghana and hang out over there. And then when it warms up back here in the States, then I'll come back. And this is a life that before probably a year and a half ago, I didn't even think was a possibility. Today, I think back to the students that I knew who were students in the schools, the boarding schools where I was working. And I'm like, actually, they did that, They came and studied in the U.S. and then on their breaks and things like that, they went back to their country, whether it was China, Korea, Iran, Turkey, Bahrain, and they were students, high school students. Why can't I, at my age, dare to dream about having a life like that? Well, and what will it take, right? Like Suzy, as she said, and she continues to do her YouTube channel and talk about how she's going to figure out how to get that and make this move. Still, she wants to move. She may not move to Bali. She'll pick someplace else to move, but she's going to figure out how to get her money together, and also how to accomplish the goals that she has for herself. And I think that's dope. And I'm following her, and again, her, Kwabena, so many other people. There's a woman, Aleta Israel, who, black woman, young woman, she's 38, and she moved from Chicago to Ghana, and she is building her own home. She says never in her family's life, no generations, did they own a home. And she left the United States and went back. And I say back because we are returning to the continent. And she chose Ghana. And she is now building her own home. And not just building her own home, but she is also helping other diasporans, African Americans, folks, black folks who want to go back to the continent to figure out how to also build a home for themselves and their families. And man, oh man, oh man. I can't even, like, she's like, for me, blowing my mind. Because how do you, when you've never seen it in your family, how do you have the vision to build, you're in a whole country, a different country that you're not a citizen of, but you have figured out a way to build for yourself, and then you want to share what you know. And that's my gift. For me, if I know it, I'm going to share it with you all. If anybody knows me, if they're in my friend group or whatever, if you know me, if I got it, I'm going to share it with you, right? I'm going to take care of myself first. And if that pisses you off, go find another friend, because there's no one out here taking care of me, right? I'm going to take care of myself first, but everything else, and God is blessing me abundantly. God is blessing me abundantly. And if he is blessing me, he's blessing me to be a blessing. If he's making me debt free, it is so that I can help people hear my story and for me to share with you. Gosh, raising kids is tough. Raising kids as a single mother, it's not what some guy told me one time. Well, if you would just stop having babies and, if you had a husband at home, whatever. I would love to have a husband at home. I promise you, I would love to. But I'm not just going to take any kind of husband. I'm not just going to take any kind of thing. We're going to be a partnership, etc., right? And even if he's not here, I'm not going to sit around wringing my hands because I don't have about what I don't have. I am not a person that lives and works and thinks about what I don't have. I am going to make a way out of no way. I'm going to take a little bit of something and I'm going to keep moving. And I want to encourage all of you women, just because we're over 50 years old does not mean our life is finished. I may be in good health by God's grace. I am in good health. I am doing what I need to do to stay that way. I ain't in perfect health because I had type 2 diabetes. Yeah. But I don't take medication because it's low enough, but it's still type 2 diabetes. I was in denial for a minute and it's a new diagnosis, but I'm saying that let's work together. Let's work together to encourage one another. I'm going to be vulnerable with you. I'm going to be honest with you. When I make a mistake, if I'm wrong about something, if you put it in the comments or whatever, reach out to me because I put my email address and stuff in there. Let me know. You got some thoughts and feelings about what I'm talking about? Hit me up. I'm fine with that. But in the meantime, I'm going to be feeling and thinking about what my next steps are in this journey so that I can continue to build myself up so that I can continue to help and support those who are willing to be helped and supported by me. That's the episode for today, y'all. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate those who have reached out and it's like, girl, we see you. I'm like, girl, I'm glad to be seen. I'm glad to be out here. Somebody's like, oh, you're so natural. Being in the classroom, being in the life that I've led, I think is conducive to this type of environment. I am an introvert. I'm an extrovert, introvert, whatever that means. But more importantly, my heart is big and my heart is full. And I want to help as many people as possible. And this is the platform I've chosen. So hit me up, Miranda Greats. Until next time, take care.